Howdy folks, welcome to the Gold Coast Art School. My name is Stephen and I'm here to muck around with some of the most ancient colours known to man, and they are the earth pigments. These are those earth pigments. Now there's lots more than this. I've just got some basic ones. So what we have here, have yellow ochre, which is derived from yellow oxide. We've got raw sienna, we have burnt sienna, and we have raw umber and burnt umber. What's the difference between raw and burnt? Well, they discovered that if they roasted the colours, they suddenly started to go a beautiful shade, took on a warm reddish tone. And I'm going to show you how that works. And also we're going to try and mix them from modern pigments and see how they go. You'll find that you use these colours a lot in landscapes. They're not really exciting colours by themselves, but they go beautifully with other colours. What happens if you add just a little bit of white to them? So I'm going to get my titanium white, it's basic white. Just squeeze some of these down. So that's number one. This is what happens when you add white to yellow ochre, and you get the really, really lovely soft colours there. This is raw sienna, which is a disgusting colour by itself, but when you add white to it, nice beigey colour there. And then we go to burnt sienna, which is an old favourite of ours. We use that a lot as a basic colour. Add some white to that and see what happens, and you get this sort of pinky brown. The next one we're going to do is raw umber. Disgusting colour, but when you add white to it, see that very smoky, beautiful grey that comes out of that? The last one is burnt umber. It's the same pigment, but it's been roasted. And when they roast it, it takes on a slightly warmer tone. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. So you've got a lovely range of beiges here. Now, one of the exercises I like to do is try and challenge the students to see if from our normal range of colours you can mix those tones, and we're going to have a little go of that. So we'll start off with the yellow ochre. I'll just put down a patch of yellow ochre. Alright, it's called yellow ochre, so what colour would we start with? Yellow, very good. Which yellow? It's kind of a greenish tinge, so we could start with the lemon yellow and put that next to it. How do you darken yellows? How do you reduce their yellowness? You put in the opposite colour to yellow. The opposite colour to yellow is blue and red, because yellows are primary. You take the other two primaries, blue and red make purple. So we're going to put in a little bit of purple, which is your violet blue, which is ultramarine, and your violet red, which in this case is crimson. Mush them up to get a nice pretty purple. And we just sort of mix that to that. Whoa, can you see that? Mm-hmm. Now, clearly, what's the problem? It's a little bit too red, isn't it? So, what's the opposite of red? Green? Yes. So, I'm going to add a little bit more yellow and a little bit more blue. And now this time I use the green blue, which is phthalo. And you know how difficult that stuff can be. I'm just going to put the tiniest smidge in that. Otherwise the whole thing's going to suddenly turn the wrong colour. Mm-hmm. All right, now see, immediately we add that yellow, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, getting closer. It's probably a bit too blue. And squint test tells me that's it's a little bit, could have a little bit more warmth to it, and it could have a little bit more yellow to it. What do we do then? We won't use the lemon yellow because that's a cool lemon. That lemon yellow is heading towards green. What I will use is I'll use the other yellow. So I just take a little bit of that and mix that into it. Okay, now can you see we're getting a little bit closer? It's lighter, but it's looking way too yellow again. So I'm going to have to knock that back with a tiny bit of purple. Don't want to use that blue. I'm going to use the other blue this time because it's the purple blue. Now I'm just going to put a little bit at the side, a little bit of purple red there. That's way too much red. As you can see, you don't dive straight in here. You've got to add a little bit at a time. All right, now we've got somewhere down the middle, and we just add that. Now we're getting closer. Can you see that? I think I just put one dab too many. It's also looking a little bit dark, I think. So it just needs a touch of that. Didn't think I'm going to make it darker, but I'm also going to make it greener. And now we're getting closer. And it's a bit dark, so I just put a whisker of white in there. Not much, teensy bit. See, it did getting very close now, but I probably put way too much yellow in there. How are we going? Ooh, getting close, aren't we?
That's really close.
Yeah. If I mush that out a bit like that, make it thinner so it's less shiny profile. That to that, it's about a whisker too dark, isn't it? Now, so I'm not cheating. I've got to wipe all the original off, like that. And we'll go back with just a tiny bit more of what I was doing before, so a little bit more of that. And we'll just put that in there, and I think that will bring us home. So we just took one step backwards, tiny bit more. And that's kind of how you do it. We're close there. I'm going to take the cheeky red. Haven't used Verm yet. Let's see what Verm does to that. Near enough for rock and roll? I reckon it is. All these colours, they're called tertiary colours. Why? They're made up of red, yellow and blue. And that's just what we've done. We had different yellows, different reds, different blues, but it's just a juggling match. And in the end, you'll get the same colour. Burnt sienna next. Now, burnt sienna, quite clearly, we love it. It's a very warm colour. Okay, so it's red. What's the nearest colour we've got there? Let's try the crimson. Clearly isn't crimson, but we'll put it there. Start with crimson. So clearly I need to darken that a little bit, so I'm going to put a little bit of blue in there. Now I don't necessarily want to turn it purple. If I put the purple blue in, it's going to go purple. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to use the green blue. It will still go a little bit purple, but it'll be a slightly greyed purple. All right. See how that's a purple, but it's not a pure purple. It's a lovely soft muted tone. It's purple with a tiny bit of yellow. Why has it got yellow in it? Phthalo blue is a green blue, therefore there must be traces of yellow in it. All right, what's the opposite of purple? Yellow. Before we had what's the opposite of yellow? Purple. Duh, same question. Different emphasis, different arrangement. So I'm going to put a bit of this yellow in. This is just the warm yellow. Whack that in. Don't need much. Probably too much there. I'm going to have to, a little bit too yellow, so I'm going to have to go back in with purple, but I don't want to go with purple, so I'm going to go more, going to sneak in a bit of vermilion, the warm one, there, and add a tiny bit of blue to it. And see how that's getting, if I thin that out, see we're getting closer now, aren't we?
Yeah.
But truth be known, there's probably more blue in that. So I'm going to clean my fingers, put a tiny bit more. This time I'm going to use the violet blue, which is ultramarine. Tap, tap. Oh, too much. And just a little bit more of this warmer yellow and see what that does. I think that's probably going to, still a bit yellow, isn't it? That means we're going to have to put a bit more of our purple in there. Didn't want to do that, but we have to. Yep, now put that in there. Now we're getting close. See, with that little bit of blush of red in there, it's starting to look more and more correct. Yeah, it's still slightly too yellow. So a little bit more of the purple, which is that one and that one. Oh, I reckon there should be more blue too somehow. Be careful though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just tapping that out so it's not so much. Oh look, that's fairly close, isn't it? So the moral of this story is all your earth pigments are browns. And I was told at school, brown is not a colour. What they meant was it's made up of all your basic, your red, yellow and blue together makes brown. That's about all I've got to say about that. So thank you for watching. And stay tuned because we're going to be doing a few more mucking around doing this trick on some other colours.
More colour videos coming.
Yeah.
So like and subscribe and all that stuff.
Indeed.
And we will see you for the next one.